Patrick P. Shit. Patrick P. Shit. He used to be with Google. He used to be with Google.
Same response, sir.
Patrick P. Shit. Patrick P. Shit.
Same response, sir.
He used to be with Google. He used to be with Google.
Oh, Patrick Pichet?
P. Shit. Patrick P. Shit. He used to be.
Oh my God, Southern Charms. Who? Missing parts. Who?
Patrick P. Shit. Patrick P. Shit. He used to be with Google. He used to be with Google.
Same response, sir.
Patrick P. Shit. Patrick P. Shit.
Same response, sir.
He used to be with Google. He used to be with Google.
Oh, Patrick Pichet?
P. Shit. Patrick P. Shit. He used to be with Google.
Same response, sir. Same response, sir.
He seems angry.
Guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. Our toil, resources, and livelihood are all involved. So is the very structure of our society. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes. We should take nothing for granted. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizen
Oh, Jesus, we're in trouble.
can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machinery of defense with our peaceful methods and goals.
Nice. Nice. Gonna do the Merry Christmas. Nice. We're getting so fancy here, it's not even funny. Dun, da-da-dun. Dun, dun-da-dun. Bergy's war song. Nice. Hello and welcome to the American Awakening. PFC Bergy here reporting for duty. Oh, we had an interesting day today. We had an interesting day last night. Oh my goodness. Just a couple quick points. Tomorrow I'll be doing a show with Mike Jaco and Scott Bennett, so I'm looking forward to that. Scott was involved with a lot of this stuff going on in D.C. He's going to be able to back me up on a lot of the stuff that we witnessed and I'm talking about here tonight. But so as most of you guys know, what do we got here? Hold on. Queensland Police Commissioner Carroll said late Tuesday, those exclude reference to anti-vaccine statement. Okay, I didn't see that. Merry Christmas. Thank you, Fuji. And hello to everyone. Thank you, Firefly, for subscribing. Tier 1. 14 months. Who? Oh, Firefly made a comment, but I didn't see it till I was signing off the other day, about, wow, the Lumo looks like an expensive toy. Cost-wise, when you consider I don't have insurance, it's not a toy. Right? It's actually, you can't even go to Walmart to buy it, right? It was a GoFundMe project that I'm looking at in several different ways. One is transportation. I have bad hip, I have bad feet, and believe it or not, in the few days I've been using it, the swelling's gone in my feet, right? It's actually pretty good exercise. Second, it has the video I've been getting on that is spectacular. I'd be putting some of that stuff up tonight, but I'm a little busy right now with this, with what's going on today. it has the ability, because it's robotics, because of its capabilities with robotics, it has the ability for me to go in and actually code it out to be able to do whatever I want. It includes the SDK for free, which is, you'll never get that with anything, I can't hear. Really? Okay, let me put that up. Oh, wow, there we go. How's that? There we go. Okay, can you hear me now? No, that wouldn't matter, that being down. I don't care about that. Let me do that. Let me turn that off. Let me turn that up. Can you hear me? Direct capsules. You can't hear me. Testing 1, 2, 3. Y'all can't hear me? It's showing that it's coming through. Said good. 5x5. Still a tad low. Turning it up a little bit. And maybe moving my mic over here. But, so we should be good now, correct? So, so we should be good now. So, and I don't want to go over. I'm in yellow, just about to the red with that. It'll start sounding crappy. So, just to kind of sum that up, my boys, they're turning 16 in January. They got a car. And I'm looking forward to them coming over and working with me to teach them how to code robotics, right? So I paid for this by financing it, so I'm on the hook for the cost of it. It wasn't crazy. It was $400 off just because. And like I said, the exercise I'm getting with it is tremendous. I drove it through. When I was downtown this weekend, there were at least 50 people that I saw break out their camera and record me. That's why I got to put some advertising promotion on it. I'm walking down the street, and some guy's recording me from across the street walking his dog. And he's like shouting stuff over. He was live streaming it. And I'm telling you right now, the more time that I get out on this, the more free advertising I'm getting with that. So it's a great promotion. It's a great way. It's a great icebreaker. People walk up to me, start talking. Hey, what are you doing this for? Then I turn around and I'm like, well, I do this. I'm an author. Hey, have you ever heard of Shadowgate? I got, Lumo there programmed with stuff. So, yes, I agree with your comment, Real Firefly, as far as, I disagree because it's not an expensive toy. It's actually some amazing technology. It has the same technology in it that the BMW has to be able to like park and everything. In fact, the technology was developed from it. So I think it was altogether about $1,800, right? This wasn't like a big GoFundMe that I did. Again, this was out of my own pocket, and it wasn't like a big, GoFundMe $100,000 birthday Tesla. Right? This was literally out of my own pocket, something that I thought would keep my expenses down because I don't have insurance like you do with an automobile and such. I can go to my appointments. I can go around. Oh, my God, the workout I'm getting on my leg and just even my body, being able to keep straight like that, it's only doing part of the work. So it's kind of cool. So to bring up Shadowgate people because Tori is in it. Well, there was a lot going on with Shadowgate. There's a lot behind that and for that. But this is what we got going on today. So I just wanted to touch on that, Firefly. I didn't see that until after we were over, and I'm like, oh, no. I can just imagine already the Torians going around saying, oh, look at Bergy, he's like wasting this and that. And I'm like, oh, look, he's... No, it's not like that. It's actually probably the most frugal thing someone could do. And the amount of benefits from, like I said, from being able to spend time working with my kids, teaching them how to code robotics, and probably learning from them in the process, and just everything else I mentioned, I think it's going to be the best money I may have ever spent, right? So anyway, and I can turn around. This actually holds its value pretty well. It's a very unique device. I had one when I was working as a contractor in South Korea. I think I paid $5,000 for that, like two and a half times more than I did this. And that didn't include the $1,000 I spent to have it shipped FedEx 3-day. So it was crazy. But I turned around and sold it for the same amount of money I bought it. I paid for it 2 years later. So that's kind of why I named it ROI, ROI, return on investment. So I look at it as an investment, actually. Let's see how that turns out. I've had great things that I thought were great ideas. It turned out to be probably some of the dumbest things I could have ever done. So who knows, right? Who knows? Sometimes I can be an idiot. And that's where I'm going to use that to lead into my email today, where we're going today. So, all right. And cool graphics, right? I've been, I have licenses with Adobe, and I haven't been using them. So I just kind of been going online through my Adobe licensing. And because I get X amount every month, if you don't use them, they just build up. I've got hundreds of them built up, and I'm probably not going to be keeping my Adobe. So I wanted to actually purchase those now while I can. And just have like tons of stuff saved up. I spent a lot of money over the year for that. And I can't, like I said, I'm going to be shutting down ShadowNet or I'm FreedomStream.tv at the end of the month, and I'll also be cutting a couple other expenses like Adobe and such. It's simply because these people, and I think it may have been because of this. So actually, I should start here. Hold on one second. Hey, let's do this. This is going to be a dick move for me to do. Y'all know I'm going to do this.
Show me something natural like Afro. Show me something natural like ass with some stretch marks.
Okay, that was our friend Akbar. Hi, Akbar. So this is Sidney Powell here I got. So I sent this email to Sidney Powell let me see if I can do this here. Nope, I can't get that any bigger. I sent this email to Sidney Powell in, what's the date here? December 3rd, 2020, 11:55 a.m. I was in D.C. And I said, Sidney, I've been in D.C. since mid-November speaking with members on your team. At first, I was put up in some hotels, but then I saw my story, which was a documentary by Millie Weaver, Shadowgate, was based on, get covered up to use later. I checked out, and I've been supported only by a quickly growing list of followers and supporters helping with room and rental car. They want the truth, and so do I. When I saw you and Lynn Wood on stage yesterday with Ali Akbar, a convicted felon and subject listed in my affidavit, being given credibility, sharing an election influence platform with you both, while I, an Afghanistan veteran, called a junkie veteran by Akbar on Twitter, and much worse, have been essentially disavowed. I found that exceptionally troubling. I am reaching out to you to give you and Mr. Wood an opportunity to explain what is going on here. Short of a forensically verifiable and justifiable excuse, of which I believe there could be, I intend to submit a formal complaint to both the courts. You and Mr. Wood are acting as legal counsel for my president, as well as the Bar Association. I believe possibly even misprision of treason or fraud might apply here, but I'm not an attorney. You are both very powerful attorneys, and I understand you can probably crush me, obviously. But you could also both come out publicly today and apologize for any potential credibility you may have given Ali Akbar, a.k.a., by the way, my friends, Ali Alexander, and let America and the world know about my signed, sworn, and notarized affidavit involving Obama Biden's ShadowNet and what happened to me following the release of Shadowgate, which resulted in the arrest of a U.S. journalist, which a fact witness has confirmed was orchestrated on Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. You can help me or try to bury me. Either way, I'll have my answer today or begin filing formal complaints tomorrow. Below is a link to my website where I'm hosting both my notarized affidavit and a video clip I cut from Shadowgate 2 about Akbar. I would lastly like to add my actions are my own and have nothing to do with Millie Weaver or Gavin. In fact, they and Tori have tried everything to get me not to do this. I believe they are wrong, and that is the only way to the truth. Millie was arrested for standing up as a journalist when nobody else would. Please, don't take this out on them. They actually believe you. I don't have that luxury, but only want the truth, whatever I discover. And I go on to say, okay, so that was, so I put that to Sidney Powell, December 3rd. Seems pretty significant, does it, my friends? Let me see. Yes, a few of us did. Bergy. What do we got? Heiberg, even broke it. I'm just checking to see if anybody has any things here. Turmeric capsule. Sounds great. TV looks way better. So, moving on. Now, fast forward a month and a half to January 20th. I believe it was January 20th. The date's on here somewhere. I sent a, this is in RE to the original message. Now, she never responded to this. Sidney Powell never responded to this, all right? But today, in the response that you're going to see from Mr. Holmes, Sidney Powell's attorney, he did confirm to me that Sidney Powell has seen and read this email. No, it's not going to work. So let me read this here. Again, this was, I believe, I'm like 95%, that I sent this January 20th. And I was so, Biden's getting sworn in. There's nothing else we could do. I've done everything I can. This is the email I sent to Sidney Powell. Sidney, you threw me, an Afghanistan veteran whistleblower, under the bus, and in doing so protected Ali Akbar, a terrorist now sought in connection with the January 6th attack on our nation's capital. I spent most of last week working with Mayor Giuliani, but I'm under a signed NDA with him regarding our discussions. The fact you, the mayor, and and President Trump all now have held my affidavit, which, had you and Lynn Wood acted as required by law, would have prevented or diminished the attack on our nation's capital, ensures I will be called to testify before the Senate in President Trump's impeachment. Now, that didn't actually happen because they canceled the impeachment. As far as I can see, the blood of everyone that died on January 6th is on your hands and the hands of Lynn Wood. Now, I do want to make this correction. Lynn Wood, according to him, he never got this. She never sent this. Now, if anybody can look at this email and say, wow, this seems pretty serious. He's making claims even about Lynn Wood. I should forward this to Lynn Wood because I've invoked his name on the previous conversation. Bergy might conclude that Lynn Wood was involved in this conversation, which I did, as you can see. But actually, according to Lynn Wood, he didn't have anything to do with it, which is kind of going to, as pissed off as I am at Lynn about some things, this actually kind of exonerates him. So, continue. Your response to my email in December proves that you knew and did, to my knowledge, nothing. My actions moving forward will be determined by your willingness to speak with me so I can better understanding of what happened with my affidavit you were given after my December 3rd correspondence with you. Your response affirms Mr. Wood was also aware of my affidavit in Ali Akbar. So please pass this along to him as well. Again, she, according to her attorney, which you'll see a little bit later, she was aware of this email. But according to Lynn Wood, she never passed this along to him, right? Now, I just don't, where's the ethics in that as far as if you're an attorney? Keep in mind, I was there as their guest. I was there as a whistleblower. They had my information. I should be afforded some sort of protections or responsibilities for any attorney under any license, under any that's taken any oath, right? So, move on here. As legal counsel working with and for the president, I'm sure you are aware of 18 U.S.C., misprision of treason, among other laws, which require you to report such information of treason when you are made aware of this. When you are made aware to the president, governor, or federal judge. I have no evidence you took any of those steps. I believe as a lawyer for the president, you had an obligation to bring this to your client as well. Your ability to continue covering up signed, sworn, and notarized affidavit you and Mr. Wood appear to have covered up diminished significantly today as a new president was sworn in, and the fractioning of our party grows as a result of the January 6th attack. I'm not going to lie. I'm really disappointed at both of you and Mr. Wood for such apparent betrayal of myself, an Afghanistan veteran, and our nation. That said, your willingness to meet with me face-to-face in the next few days will weigh heavily on several upcoming interviews I have scheduled, where I fully intend to make public both this email and the original email from December 3rd. All I'm asking is for the assurance both you and Mr. Wood would help me get those listed in my affidavit, held accountable, and expose this treason. Sidney Powell chose not to apparently pass this on to Lynn Wood and chose to ignore it, even though, according to her attorney, she had seen it. I have not yet had the time to send a copy of the email and affidavit you and Mr. Wood covered up to your respective state bar associations. Check that box now. As mentioned in the original thread, that will change very soon, also based on your response. Now, again, so her response, by the way, to the original thing that I sent her about Akbar was neither of us knew him. Neither of us knows him or his story. Thank you for the information, Sidney. Now, she was actually wrong in Lynn Wood's response to me. He actually did know or had engaged with Ali Akbar at least one time before. So what she said there was factually incorrect and was just a flat-out lie. She never spoke to him, and in fact, he had. In fact, it was Ali Akbar that recommended, according to Lynn Wood, in his response to my questions, it was Ali Akbar that recommended Lynn Wood represent the Sandman in the lawsuit against like CNN and such. Okay? So, pretty significant stuff, in my opinion. That is so cool. Now, back to Mr. Holmes. And so I sent this subject, DC-22-06562- Sidney Powell Disbarment. That was the subject line. I sent it. Now, I blocked these off just here, but I sent it to all the people that were listed here are actually literally listed in the court filing with the Texas bar. And so, I just chose to block them. The only person not listed in that court filing in the Texas bar was Kelly Sorrell. I sent it to Kelly at SorrellLaw.com. SorrellLaw.com no longer exists, but you can purchase it for $4,095. That's got to suck. So my name is Patrick Bergy, and I have emails. So I sent this to the disbarment people, okay? But instead of just sending it to the attorneys that had the Texas bar address to it, PFC Bergy likes to be transparent and open. So I took the liberty of just kind of including everybody that was listed on that. Thought, well, let's do a little fishing. PHISHIN. And I did some fishing and I caught a whale, right? So a lot of, most people would have just sent this quietly in to, most people would have sent this in quietly just to the Texas bar people. Oh, I don't want to piss anybody off. But I'm not most people. And so, yeah, I sent it to all of them. And then, several hours later, I looked at my email and I'd gotten a response. So let me read this here. My name is Patrick Bergy, and I have emails and other forensically verifiable documents showing Sidney Powell, Linwood, Kelly Sorrell, Texas attorney indicted by J6 DOJ, conspired to harm and silence me after I came to them with evidence showing affidavits they were submitting into court, as well as people they were working with to raise money, were committing fraud and witness intimidation. I also have evidence showing shortly after calling these people out publicly, I was the victim of a targeted and coordinated attack by Lynn Wood, my attorney, Kelly Sorrell, who I fired after her public disclosure that she was having an affair with Stuart Rhodes, one of the people she was supposedly representing me in my lawsuit against, and others. This included placing assets within my company to discredit and destroy my business. I would like to provide all documentation, evidence, and sworn testimony to the abuse and fraud described above. There is a significant amount, as I was invited as a whistleblower to D.C. as a guest of Patrick Burns, Sidney Powell, Rudy Giuliani, and others. And I documented their fraud in great detail. Please advise. Kindest regards, Patrick Bergy. So I put that out there. And again, I fished with everybody's address. And I got a response. But the response was apparently sent to me in error. Now, I don't know if it was sent in error. He could have put that together, make it look like it was sent in error just to try to trick me or set me up. These are attorneys. I don't know. I don't care. His response was, so you can see Burner response to interrogation, book investigators. Hold on here. So his response was at 5:06 p.m. And this was so weird, right? I said, us too. The bar case is a very difficult case because we must disprove facts that they have the burden to prove. Then you have idiots like Bergy. What? Motherfucker called me an idiot. Send crap like this email to the bar claiming he has proof to help them. Then the difficulty obtaining an expert witness who has the guts to stand up against the media. Maybe someone knows some shortcuts. Oh, they were looking for shortcuts. You know, this guy, if he's not careful, is going to end up in that disbarment hearing himself. I told you this was good, folks. I told you this was good. So let's move on here. But clearly, well, I mean, like I said, it could have been intended he actually could have done that on purpose, to be honest with you, but I don't think he did. But the fact that he is referencing my name, calling me a idiot, you know, disparaging me, what is it, libel if you're writing? I forget. But just, you know, okay. So even though he's got this information notice that's in his signature file, that doesn't apply if you are slandering me, right, to a large group of people or even one or two individuals like this. I'm going to put out a response to it, buddy. And yeah, because why? Because I'm an idiot, right? Yeah, who's the idiot that fucking sent this by mistake? But I'm going to put out a response, you can be sure, to kind of try to restore my name after you fucking slandered it, calling me an idiot. Only my 3 ex-wives get to call me that. So, moving along. Okay, so he sends me, shit, hold on. He sends me this, right? And he says, looking forward to, so this is 10:51 at night. So I send him a response, and he says, and I said, and he said, looking forward to your correspondence to and from Sidney. I do not believe you have any. He's like fucking Chan. He's like, I think you're full of shit. Oh, really? Okay. Hold my beer, dumbass. So I respond to him, you're in luck. I published them all in my book, LOL. You can order on Amazon and have your own copy by Christmas. Gift a copy to Sidney. But included with this, I took pictures, about 5 pictures. One of them was the cover of the book, and the others were relevant pages in the book with Sidney's stuff in it. So he's like, I mean, like this guy, right? He's such a dick. So here we go. So I responded then back to him when he said, look forward to see your correspondence to and from Sidney. I don't believe you have anything. I said, my response, okay, this is 7 p.m. I actually kind of jumped that around there. He said, I responded, this idiot, Bergy, and by the way, this was his first notice from me that he had accidentally sent me that email. I don't know who he sent it to. We should find out because he was slandering me, calling me an idiot and shit. But I said, this idiot, Bergy, actually does have evidence. I have email correspondence warning Sidney about Ali Akbar, a.k.a. Ali Alexander's criminal record, and she was giving him a platform. She responded saying neither she or Lynn Wood was aware of his background and thanked me. So you're wrong there. Then she proceeded to give him a platform up until January 6th. I have email correspondences from Lynn Wood saying he had no idea about the email Sidney Powell made very specific claims for him in. Much like what Lynn Wood claims she did to him in Michigan without his knowledge. No. My email represents a pattern I believe the bar should know about. I also believe they should know you responded by calling me an idiot. Sidney also knowingly accepted and submitted the affidavit of one Tory Morris. Tory had just been convicted of 12 counts of fraud by the North Dakota AG, including stolen valor and defrauding a veterans homeless shelter. Oh, and before you say Sidney didn't know, I have an email from Patrick, right? So, going on here, this is priceless, isn't it? So, moving on here. He responds back. Let me see this. Mr. Bergy, from our records there. So he went from, I don't believe you, to, okay. Mr. Bergy, from our records, there is only one email exchange between you and Miss Powell on December 3rd, 2020, and one from you to her in January 2021. Boom! So, right there, my friends, he's telling me, he's acknowledging right there that I never even mentioned, and I did that on purpose. I never even mentioned the January 20th one, right? So, right there, he's acknowledging that she is aware of it and saw it. I don't know when she saw it. I'm going to assume she saw it when it fucking came in. 2020... here we go. Mr. Bergy, let me start over here. For my records, there's only one exchange between Ms. Powell, December 3rd, 2020, one to her in January 2021, all after the election fraud suits were filed. Okay. But they hadn't been decided on December 3rd. So when you did, oh, and by the way, that's just my email, right? I also have an email from Patrick Byrne, which we're going to go over here in a bit, which literally shows that well before December 3rd, Patrick Byrne had his investigators interview Tory and found that she could not be trusted with anything. She lied continuously during their 3-hour thing. Couldn't be trusted with anything. So we need to know, why didn't Patrick Byrne convey that to Sidney Powell, right? That's a good question, because they're all fucking grifters. They were all just making this shit up. That's my opinion on it, but we'll see. But clearly, all after the election fraud suits were filed, well, you know, and by the way, after it's filed, if you become aware that something you filed was almost certainly bullshit, based on and the credibility of the person is completely shot, you still have an obligation to the court to fucking come back to them and say, wow, you know, we tried to do our best to make sure that everything in here was accurate, but you know, somebody ended up putting this in here. We haven't been able to verify it. We found some serious discrepancies with the background. I'd like to actually have this pulled before we can be more positive about this. That is how an honest attorney who would not have to worry about being disbarred would have handled something like that. She's completely fucked here, I'm telling you. So it doesn't matter, right? He's acknowledging that. He's acknowledging the other email. She could have fixed that. I want to know, and I'm sure the Texas Bar is going to want to know, what happened to what information, at what point did Patrick Byrne notify Sidney Powell that that his investigators had found that she was completely full of shit, and not to use her for anything, not to trust anything she says. I mean, if you submit someone's affidavit into court knowing that, holy shit, that's not disbarment. You could be fucking thrown in jail for that. Absolutely. Byrne is CFR, Kane. Absolutely. So, and by the way, Byrne is Byrne still in the United Arab Emirates? Can anybody answer that? I know he went to the UAE. I'm kind of wondering if he's in the UAE right now and just kind of waiting things out until Republicans take over Congress, because he's worried that Democrats are going to call him in. Well, I tell you what, I spoke to the Texas bar in great detail today after all of this happened, this exchange happened. Oh, by the way, spoiler alert. The fucking Texas bar knows everything about this. Holy shit. Like I said, this is fucking it, my friends. This is it. They cannot escape this. They can't talk their way out of it. They can't discredit me publicly. So it's no. This is happening. I've been sending him everything. I'm continuing to send him everything. Holy shit, right? So he sends a response back. Mr. Bergy from our after the election, suit was filed. Mr. Wood or Patrick Byrne. Okay, here we go. After all the elections, if there are others, please produce them. Okay. Well, I did, but not to him. I produced him to the Texas bar, and of course, he can go online to Amazon and order The American Awakening if he likes. Produce them. Communications to Mr. Wood or Patrick Byrne are not to Sidney Powell. No shit. But when they are their written responses to Sidney Powell's email, they are connected, dumbass. This guy's so fucked, right? I mean, if I was Sidney Powell, I'd be like, man, what was I thinking of here? This guy's the lowest bidder. If he's still working for her and she hasn't started a lawsuit against him, I don't know. Because the stuff he's saying here is just complete bullshit, right? And I just said that. And by the way, should he even be attacking me? Should he even be questioning me? I'll get into that in a moment. Discussions with Joe Flynn and General Flynn are not discussions with Miss Powell. Well, no, they aren't. Moreover, those two all appear to be after the suits were filed. Again, it doesn't matter. Once you come into this information and the suits are still active in the court, even though they're filed, you need to go back to the court and tell them. So this all needs to be really cleared up, and there's an easy paper trail on all of this. And by the way, even though I notified her on December 3rd, she had a copy of my affidavit before she submitted those into court. So if she read my affidavit, which she did, then she knew about Akbar before she submitted this stuff. Although I didn't make claims about Tory in there, she knew about Tory because we were both investigated around the 15th or 16th of November, well before they were submitting these things into court. The email you received from me was a mistake. Oh, you mean like you're an idiot? Oh, I'm sorry. Kind of already figured that out. It was a mistake. It was intended for one of my paralegals and consistent with the notice contained therein. If you are not the intended recipient or an authorized representative of the intended recipient, you are hereby notified that any review, dissemination, or copying of this email and its attachments, if any, or the information contained herein is prohibited. If you have received this email in error, please immediately notify the sender by returning the email and delete it from your system. It appears statements you made about Miss Powell in your book are slanderous. Well, would that be slanderous or liable? I don't know. And as are those in your email from the Texas bar to me. Please retract those. Oh, so he's like threatening me. He wants me to take this stuff away. I'm a whistleblower. I should be protected, right? But no, that's not at all what's happening. This guy's fucking going out and threatening me. He's not trying to find out the truth. Said so. To continue on. We already went over that. Thanks for acknowledging. Sidney could have prevented. By the way, thanks for acknowledging. Oh, there we go. Miss Powell did not even. Okay, so his response here at 12:29 p.m. today. Miss Powell did not even recall your name or that she had any communications with you. You know, she has a big problem with her memory, doesn't she? She doesn't recall so many things, although she kind of recalls Lynn Wood telling her to do that, but it's just based on her memory, right? It doesn't have an actual email to prove it from Lynn Wood, So it's sounding more and more to me, based on this stuff, that she's full of shit, right? So Powell did not even recall your name, or that she had any communications with you. Okay, let's just agree to disagree and say, I want proof, right? So Discovery, thank you. We found the emails by doing a search in the system. Well, probably it was fucking 2 years ago. I didn't think she kind of had it up like on a pop-up coming up every day that she's been putting off. Your claims have no basis. Really? I don't know. What do you guys think that are listening? Do you see some basis to this? Do you want to find out the truth? I don't know. I want to find out the truth. So moving right along. I followed up with this. And this was the last comm that I'm pretty sure it's like the last comm that I sent to him. I don't think he responded to this, but he has it, right? And so does the Texas Bar. First, you call me an idiot, which I would argue is actually slanderous. Then you say I don't have any emails. And now you say there's only one. How about doing something decent for once and answering these interrogatories for me? Here we go. Question 1. Why did Sidney lie to me when she spoke for Lynn Wood and hadn't apparently spoken with him? Okay, that's a good question. Question 2. Did Sidney share that email with Lynn Wood? If not, why? If so, please provide evidence. Number 3. When did Sidney become aware of Tori, one of her key whistleblowers submitted to the court without her name for her quote-unquote protection, right? Had such an extensive background of fraud? Good question. I think the Texas Bar are going to want to know that. Did Patrick Byrne ever make Sidney aware of Tori's extensive fraud his investigators uncovered in early November? This attorney's probably just shitting his pants right now going, what the fuck? And then 5, why did Sidney Powell ignore my affidavit, which Byrne's investigation of found me as credible, and put Tories in the lawsuit anonymously? Great questions, right? Great questions. Number 6, did Sidney know or work with Kelly Sorrell? Inquiring minds want to know. 7, once Sidney became aware of Ali Akbar Alexander, why did she not call him out and take away his platform? Knowing what we know now about Akbar's involvement in the coordination and incitement of violence on January 6th, had she done that, J6 would have almost certainly would have turned out differently. Number 8, my affidavit was given to Sidney before she filed, which warned her about Akbar in early November. Did she ever read this? Well, I'm thinking kind of she did. 9, has Sidney ever watched Shadowgate? You know, I usually open with that one. Why did Sidney invite Millie Weaver to D.C. and never mention or help Millie or me as it relates to this? Number 10, were you aware Millie, a journalist, was arrested while uploading Shadowgate in front of her crying children? ? Were you aware Akbar attacked Millie and I after she was arrested and called me a junkie veteran? ? Well, he would have been if he read my affidavit. Question 11, why did Sidney protect Akbar while she was entrusted with my sworn affidavit as a whistleblower, knowing he had attacked me, a verifiable DOD whistleblower with evidence of election fraud? Right? Great questions. Then I went on to say, you are attacking, threatening, and intimidating a witness, and you should stop and apologize to me. So should Sidney. I was a single, honorable voice in a sea of lying grifters, and sending that email to Sidney trying to warn her was when these sociopaths started seeing me as a threat and intensified their attacks on me because of it. Just like you now. I don't recognize your generic signature file in an email that was making spurious accusations about me. Putting that doesn't give you a license to talk shit and slander me, public or private. If you still disagree, sue me. I'm a journalist now, and this is all going online. Yours, Patrick Bergy. I always try to be professional, right? We've already seen that. Wait a second, did we? There's only one. Yeah, we already saw that. There we go. And then I believe this. Nope, we already saw that. So, now he says, and we're probably only going to do. I'm only going to do an hour tonight. I'm going to finish this up at 8 o'clock tonight because I got a lot of work to do. And this has been a busy day. I was up late. I was up early, and this is a good thing. I'm too I'm earning this one. So I wanted to start out here real quick. Page 2. So that's not it. Burn response, page 2. There it is. No. There it is. So, can I make this bigger? Yeah, hold on. There? Yes. Nice. So, in Burns' response to the interrogatories I sent him last, August or so, after we had met at the Vinoy in St. Pete, Byrne responded to my interrogatories. He actually added this. I didn't ask him a question about this. He offered it, right? What he said was, question 4. Tory was taken out and interviewed by some people I know from the intelligence community who are absolutely on our side. So they were like our friends, right? These weren't like, somebody that was like against Trump or anything. These were our friends, right? They're absolutely on our side. They came back telling me she knows some things and has been behind the curtain, but she also lies, exaggerates, deflects, changes subjects rapidly, trying to throw people off, and we cannot rely on her for anything factual because we caught her in too many lies and exaggerations over the 3 hours. Precisely as I warned her they would do if she did not heed a little coaching from me. Because you came in with her, you were painted with the same brush. Okay? So, that says to me, and of course to the Texas bar, that's got to bring, this has to bring, in my opinion, Trump into the Texas bar lawsuit, or not Trump, Byrne into the Texas bar lawsuit. Spectacular day, my friends. Spectacular day. My God. As you can see in that January 20th email that I had sent to Sidney Powell, saying how the blood of everybody on January 6th was on her hands. She could have done something to stop it, but didn't. Byrne goes in to try to justify it in that email response as well. Again, they have everything. And everything right now has just changed as far as the Texas Bar. And by the way, the Texas Bar Association, I'm assuming, is probably quite liberal because most of the attorneys in Texas are quite liberal. So I'm not going to have to, I don't think we're going to have to worry too much about Flynn assets shooting this down. It sucks because I got people on both sides that are constantly trying to keep what I have from being told. And that sucks. But it's all coming out. I literally sent the Texas Bar a full copy, PDF copy of The American Awakening, 405 pages of my book. But they also asked for some very specific things for me to provide them that were originals, and I absolutely did. I'm not going to say what it is because I'm going to actually very much limit any conversations I have with the Texas Bar because I don't want to give Sidney Powell or her attorney any idea of what route they might be taking. In my personal opinion, this is not to do with anything with the Texas Bar or anybody. Sidney Powell is completely fucked. Kelly Sorrell, I believe, it is my hope that Kelly Sorrell, she's probably already got some sort of disbarment thing going. I emailed the Texas Bar quite some time ago about Kelly. I never got a response, or at least saw one. So it just makes sense bringing Kelly in. Kelly's a Texas attorney. She was banging freaking Stuart Rhodes. She was my attorney. She was connected into all this stuff. If she's not connected to Sidney Powell, I would be surprised. After that email that I sent Sidney Powell on January 20th, I believe, that's when shit fell apart. That's when Funes showed up at my door. That's when KC and Jonathan Lee Riches and all of these people that came into my life and destroyed everything around it, destroyed my business, destroyed my professional relationships with my CFO, destroyed everything that they could to silence me and to keep this information from getting out. But guess what? It got out, motherfuckers. It got out. And you cannot escape this now. The truth is going to be discovered, right? Your running's done. Your lying's over. This is no fucking joke. I have dead to right evidence on these people. I'm pushing, just like I wrote in that email to Sidney Powell. You are aware of the fact that this information you're receiving right now constitutes as treason if you, as having sworn an oath to our country, which she almost certainly had to have, either through her bar swearing or to as the president's attorney, which she was no longer the president's attorney, didn't matter. She swore an oath to our country. And if you swore an oath to our country and somebody provides you evidence of treason, you have a responsibility to do one of three things. And if you don't do any of those things, you are considered guilty of misprision of treason. And by the way, that's fucking treason. Right? It's just a fancy word for it. You can never run for office ever again. I think 10 years imprisonment unless it's like treason, really super treason, then you can get fucking executed for it. But every single one of these people, in my opinion, committed treason. They knew this information. And this is going to open up. Do you realize the can of worms that this just fucking opened up? Now, I did go. A couple things I will say. Because this is I don't know what they're going to do. But I said, listen, in my opinion, I said this to the investigator with the Texas Bar. I want protection as a witness, right? I don't want witness protection. I don't give a shit about that. I got witness protection sitting right next to me. I want protection, so if these guys try to keep threatening me, action can be taken against them. If they try to threaten to sue me or anything, action can be taken against them. And I want to have all of the information that I provided these guys today copied to the new special counsel in charge of investigating the January 6th stuff. And I told them I also want to have this information provided to Congress with the request to testify before Congress. And I said, what you should do is you should ensure that this testimony gets to the Democrats, because the fucking Republicans are going to cover this shit up. So I said, you got about a week and a half, 2 weeks to get me in front of Congress before this is almost certainly going to be covered up. So I don't know what they're going to do. Seemed pretty hurried for me to get him the information, and I did. So let's see what's going to happen. Regardless, we're going to get some answers. If you think that what they're doing is okay and that, fuck Bergy, you know, then okay. And maybe that was an okay thing to think back then. But every single thing that they said and did failed. Every plan they had failed. Everything that I said and did, my affidavit, everything I was warning, is exactly what's playing out right now with the Twitter emails, with the releases of all that information, with the relationship between the FBI and Twitter and all these social media platforms. Truth, the light. Hello. So all of this information is now in their hands. I don't know what's going to happen. I gave them my recommendation. I told them that I wanted to go under oath, sworn with this testimony, and I wanted this information provided again to not just you guys, but the Department of Justice. Now, I think that was actually not even necessary for me to do, because as I understand it, the DOJ is actually watching all of these hearings that involve anything January 6th related. So, you know, this is a beautiful day. Again, I go back to the promise I made in that January 20th email that resulted in so much bullshit in my life from these damn grifters trying to cover up their lies, their treason, their coup. But I promised her, I said, this isn't going away. I'm going to hold you accountable. And today, that happened. Today, I honored that promise from 2 years ago I made in an email to someone I didn't even know read it until today. That's progress. If you can help me out, if you like what I'm doing and can help me out, that'd be greatly appreciated. You can go to patreon.com/American Awakening. For the next, probably 10 days, you can go to freedomstream.tv /contribute. I could really use your help, folks. But I know it's Christmas. I know it's tight. And could really use your help, though. I got to make a bunch of cuts here right now. And even with those cuts, like I said, I got a beautiful studio. I got this voice. I got a brain. I'm part idiot. So maybe this idiot will continue to catch himself some whales every now and again. So on that note, I'm going to get signed off here, my friends. What a spectacular evening. Missing Parts, thank you so much. Trump's next wife. Oh my God, I've missed you. Thank you. Good to see you in this chat. Everybody. Was I wrong? Was I wrong? Trump's next wife? I told you. I told you. You guys put your faith and trust in me. Even when all these fucking grifters were spreading their bullshit. And I promised you I was going to do I promised you, I told you I couldn't make any promises, but that I promised you I was going to do. I couldn't make any promises on the results, but I was going to promise you I was going to do everything I could. And that your faith in me, your support, would not be in vain. And it wasn't. Everyone, thank you very much. Good night, and God bless.
And we're only really here because thus far you've been right.